Hey, it's Chris Johnson. It's time for another podcast after dark. Podcast after midnight. Another after midnight podcast by Chris Johnson. Yeah. You like that? Things are heating up. It's after midnight again. It's actually, matter of fact, it's close to fucking 1 in the morning as I'm recording this one. I'm stopping giving a shit when I record these fucking things. I realize that, like, most of my life takes place after fucking midnight. You know what time I went to bed last night? Or this morning? 8 a.m. 8 in the fucking morning. I decided, you know what? That's enough for me. I'm going to head to bed. And then I think I got up around like 3 or 4. I got a question. I've been thinking about this lately. That fucking show Game of Thrones ended. I don't watch Game of Thrones. I don't give a fuck about Game of Thrones. I've never been less interested in a fucking top show than I have been in fucking Game of Thrones. I just don't give a fuck about it. I'm sure it's great. I'm sure the production values are good. I'm sure the story's good. It's not that I don't like fucking fantasy shit. I watch fucking superhero movies all the time. I love that shit. I just don't fucking care. Like, I've never seen a fucking trailer for it or heard people talk about it and thought, like, man, I gotta get a fucking taste of it. My bitch, though, isn't with the show. It just fucking ended, and I guess people are pissed about the ending. Why the fuck are people pissed about the ending? Was it a shitty ending? Don't tell me. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna get sidetracked on that shit. The thing that bothers me about fucking Game of Thrones is how the fuck is Game of Thrones news? I listen to the news a lot because I want to know what the fuck is going on. And any fucking time there's a new fucking episode, they always would talk about the episode on the fucking news the next day. I got news for you. That's not fucking news. What happened on fucking Game of Thrones last night is not fucking news. I cannot fucking stand when a show gets to a point that its very existence is fucking news. It happened with the fucking Sopranos, a show that I enjoyed and a show that I fucking watched, but I didn't watch it at the time. Like, I didn't have HBO, so I get fucking shows spoiled for me because douchebag fucking news people are talking about, like, you know, who got off during Game of Thrones. Like, who's gonna get the Iron Throne? I don't even know what the fuck that is. But apparently it's good. Do you want the Iron Throne? Fuck, I don't know. But I just think, as a news organization, you have nothing going on, / you are fucking lazy as shit if you're just talking about the latest fucking hit show. They'll have some, like, fucking critic on, some egghead douchebag motherfucker, and he's like, well, the plot points seem to be going pretty fast in the finale, and dude, shut the fuck up. How the fuck do people get paid to be critics, too, by the way? That's a fucking aside. That is the biggest bullshit job on the fucking planet, to be like a professional fucking critic. A fucking guy who just watches TV and bitches about shit. Wait a second, that's me, motherfucker. I'm doing this for free. These pieces of shit get paid for it? And they're always fucking smug, too. They're like, man, we've seen this plot device before. Then you go write some shit. What the fuck? Why get off your fucking ass and write something. You can't fucking write. You just sit there and you fucking judge it. Like, anybody can fucking be a critic. And I'm not upset about people being critical of things. You can be critical of whatever the fuck you want. And listen to me. I bitch about a ton of shit. But my fucking point is, if you're getting paid for it, if you're getting paid just to be a dick, that's my fucking problem. I don't like critics. I don't like critical reviews. I don't like listening to critics. I don't like any of that bullshit. I don't want to hear them talk about Game of Thrones on the fucking news. Just tell me anything. Tell me about, like, a fucking situation that's going on in Yemen. Just anything that's going on in the world is more important to me than, like, hey, did you know what happened to the TV show last night? Did you watch TV last night? This is what happened. I mean, I get how it's sometimes news, like, hey, it's the big fucking show and it's ending. Like, that can be news. But the fucking plot of the fucking show isn't news. They did the same thing when the Avengers came out. I fucking love the Avengers. I had to fucking not watch the news for a couple fucking days. Because somehow, like, hey, this happened in the fucking movie is news. No, it's not. What fucking Tony Stark did in Avengers isn't fucking news. Thanos ain't fucking news. You know how I know that? Because he's a fictional fucking character. He's not real. People used to bitch to me, because I used to do the sports when I worked in radio. Dickhead radio listeners are the worst, because all they do is, like, call them bitch. But they used to bitch if we talked about, like, sports too much. Like, this is a news station. Why are you talking about sports? Well, because the fucking Bills are in the playoffs, asshole. You know what I mean? Like, people care about it. And we didn't even really talk about sports that much. We would just do, like, interview segments on it from time to time, talk about the games. And I was really interested in that shit. But it was just, you know, a couple minutes here, like, hey, your local team's playing tonight. Let's talk to the fucking broadcasters. Here's what's going on. And people would call in and bitch to me about that. Like, why the fuck is that news? And then I gotta fucking listen to Game of Thrones and Avengers talk on the fucking news? How the fuck is that news? That's less news because it's not even fucking real. We only do this with fucking, like, movies and big-time TV shows, too. Who fucking even knows, like, what the latest fucking novel is? You know what I mean? Does anybody know what books are being written? I don't fucking know. I don't check the fucking New York Times bestseller list. But we don't talk about those. It's only, like, fucking, like, big TV shows and movies. They used to do it with, like, American Idol, too. Is that show still on? Did they find a bunch of new asshole hosts for that fucking garbage? If you don't want to know what happened in American Idol last night, turn the channel. Like, nobody gives a shit what happened in American Idol last night. If you care, you watched. Or you fucking taped it or some shit. I don't fucking know why TV and fucking plot points of HBO shows are fucking news. They're never news. If you fucking see any fucking news organization talking about that as if it's news, they have run out of ideas. They are lazy. They are lazy motherfuckers. They don't want to fucking cover anything else. There's nothing else going on. That's shit that I would do if I ran a fucking news station. Hey, what are you going to talk about? Well, I watched TV last night. You want to talk about that? Like, who gives a shit that this has nothing to do with anything in the fucking world? I hope nothing else gets as popular as that fucking show. I'll be back. Sundays and Wednesdays. You know what, though? If this show gets as popular as any show, you can talk about me in the fucking news. If this podcast is really fucking popular, talk about my fucking ass all you want. Because Chris Johnson is news. Sundays and Wednesdays, that's when new podcast episodes come out. I'm on Podbean website or the app. Website's maybe5minutes.podbean.com. I'm on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify. I'll be in the Facebook timeline for you as well. I'm on Twitter at Johnson Hates You. And if you want to see my gorgeous face and my hot beard, it's pretty impressive. You can see that at Instagram. That's at maybe 5 minutes.